Hey, what's going on, family? Real quick video. Basically, I want to talk to you guys about the culture of white lies. Now, for those of you who don't know, a couple of days ago, there was a YouTuber named Joey Salads who, based on the number of subscribers and views he got, he was making anywhere from $40,000 to $600,000 a year in YouTube income. And basically, his thing was posting up, exposing the truth about the black community, like, holding up signs of all lives matter, in the hood, and black people would come and slap it down, or leave. He would drive into a neighborhood and leave his trunk open, and black people would come and rob it, and take everything out of it, whatever, right? And it was basically exposed to be all a fraud and all a fake. And I'm going to put other links in the description box. Some of you may have heard, and some YouTubers have done videos about it. Like Professor Black Truth did a video about it, and some other people did, where this white woman staged a robbery in her house and spray painted Black Lives Matter on the side of it. And let me make something clear, even though this is not really the topic of the video. Black Lives Matter is not really directed at the organization. When people try to blame Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter is all black people. Let's be very clear. Black Lives Matter is any black person who is not a coon to white people. That's Black Lives Matter. It's a code word. I'm going to do a video. Let me not, because I want to keep my video short and stop going off on tangents. But I'm going to do a real short video about white supremacist code words for black people. All right. But Black Lives Matter is one of those code words. There's other stories from years ago, or not even years ago. There's a story from like a year ago, where the woman was finally charged a couple of months ago, where a white cop shot herself and blamed it on some black cops. There was a white dude a couple of years ago who spray painted his truck Black Lives Matter to try to blame it on black people. Here's what I'm saying about this white supremacist culture of lies. Look, I'm not pro-feminist. Not that I'm against women having rights or equality, but the movement feminism, I know its roots. It has roots in the women's KKK, like literally, and I'll do a video about that. But bottom line, I'm against feminism. I'm not for the movement, the third wave modern movement called feminism today. I don't believe it's beneficial to black women. I believe it's a tool to divide black women and black men. One perfect example is how these black feminists were used to sabotage Nate Parker. But I digress. That's not the topic. Getting on feminists is not the topic of this video. I'm just giving that as an example to say, even though I disagree with feminists, even though I think that they're wrong, I'm not going to take a hammer and bash myself in the face, or take a gun and shoot myself in the leg to prove some point that women are committing domestic violence against men. So this exposes feminism as a hate group or something like that, right? It's ridiculous. Even as much as I disagree with them, I'm not going to go do that, because I know in my heart that if I have to go and do that, then whatever my beef is with feminism is not justified, because I have to make shit up about what they did to me to justify my points about them, to justify the fact that they're wrong and they're bad people. You see, when I really feel like someone is wrong and bad, I make my points and they stand or they don't stand. If somebody can debunk them, they can debunk them. But I make my points. I say what I say. If I have receipts about things they've done, I'll bring those receipts. But I'm not going to knowingly fabricate things, because then that makes me know, why am I against these people if I have to fabricate my arguments? This does not make any sense to me. But I don't share the same psychology as these people. who will go out and do this, because somehow you pretend that you genuinely disagree. It's not racism. It's not anything else. You just genuinely disagree, which tells me that you don't genuinely disagree. You can't really make an argument against them, and you know in your heart you can't, but all you know is that you hate them, and you hate them for standing up for their rights. You hate their humanity and their assertion of their humanity. And that's what, although I can get on Black Lives Matter, I'm not a Black Lives Matter dude. I don't fuck with Black Lives Matter. I believe they're a white front controlled opposition organization. But I'm not talking about the organization. I'm talking about the sentiment. I'm talking about because there's Black Lives Matter, the movement, and Black Lives Matter, the organization. Black Lives Matter, and yes, Black Lives Matter actually is a literal organization. There's a Black Lives Matter chapter in every city. Like, full disclosure, I live in Atlanta. There's a Black Lives Matter Atlanta chapter. So there is a Black Lives Matter organization, but then there's Black Lives Matter the movement, and that's just black people who, want to protest police brutality and other forms of systemic inequality in our system. So what you're mad at is Black Lives Matter, the movement, of being people who are asserting their humanity, which you don't believe they have a right to. And I'm going to put a link in the description box. Basically, when I searched this story, or not link in the description box, I'm going to make it the screenshot title of the video. I mean, the screenshot in the video that I use. When I searched the story of the white woman who lied on Black Lives Matter, the related searches were Black Lives Matter don't matter to me, Black Lives don't matter to me, Black Lives Matter is ridiculous, arguments against Black Lives Matter. So this tells me this is the related searches from Google. So these are the most popular searches from Google in relation to Black Lives Matter. Because I didn't even search Black Lives Matter. I searched white woman blames stages robbery and blames Black Lives Matter. You'll see as you're watching this video. And the related searches were arguments against Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter ridiculous, these kind of things. So this tells me what you're searching is you don't even have an argument against Black Lives Matter. That's why you have to Google one. You don't even have your own genuine argument. So for all you black people who want to say these white people just don't understand, they're just mad because it doesn't fit. No, they do not like you. They do not like you because you're black. That's why when they hear you assert that your life matters, they go and search for arguments against why your life does not matter. This is what you have to understand about who you're dealing with. But anyway, I wanted to say the topic of the video was the white supremacist culture of lies. Again, I know a lot of people are lazy, and when I say check the description box, you don't. But I want you to, because I want you to see the evidence of what I'm telling you. Because again, I don't operate like the opposite of me. Okay? I don't operate where I have to fabricate things to make my arguments against these people. Okay? I don't have to make it up. I bring articles and receipts, not fabricated videos, not spray painting my house with White Lives Matter. I don't have to do that. Okay? I bring receipts. And I'm telling you, again, just like we had back in the 50s and the 60s and the 1800s, where white women, and mostly white women, but white people in general, would fabricate lies against black people in order to murder them. You still have that today. White women fabricating lies against black men. White men fabricating lies against black people in order to justify harming them. This is a demonic mentality, family. It is a demonic mentality. There's no way around it. That is a demonic mentality. When you have to lie on someone to justify hurt, I have never, if I've ever wanted to hurt somebody, justified or not, I at least had a reason. I didn't have to make up a lie. Like, for example, if someone pissed me off or made me mad, right? Even if it was petty, like for example, I had a situation with my ex where she went back to her ex before me, and there was some words exchanged, right? I wanted to do harm to this dude, right? But I didn't have to make up a lie why I wanted to do harm to him. I wanted to do harm to him because he was with my ex. It's just that simple. Justified or not, that was the emotion I was feeling at that time. Of course, I didn't do anything. Nothing happened. But I'm saying, if I can relate to a time when I wanted to do harm to someone, it was never because I had to fabricate something, right? It was never because I had to make up a lie. I just had a reason. But these people, they know that they don't have a reason, so they make up one to try to justify action and harm against people. This is a demonic mentality. When you know you don't have a reason to hurt someone, but you want to hurt them anyway. That is a demonic mentality. And like I said, and I may go further into this, but this is why we must consider the theory of Yakub. This is not a natural this is not a naturally occurring behavior, yet it is so common in white people. And as I did my last video about white supremacy is not generational. It's something we see generation after generation. Just like we saw in the past when they would make up shit to justify harming, but make up myths about our inferiority, make up myths in the Bible about how we're cursed, do whatever they needed to do to justify their terrorism, right? They would make up shit like when they stopped Reconstruction, they would say the myth of black criminality was fabricated to justify imprisoning us. So this is not something new. This is not something that's been diminishing with time. This is not something of the old days. As you're seeing with the topic of this video and with the links in the description box, this is a culture for them where they sit around and fabricate shit against a group of people who've done nothing to them except say, hey, I'm a human who deserves to be treated fairly. And that triggers you to go out and search reasons to hate them. As I began with my arguments against the feminism and stuff like this, it's not a situation, for those of you who still want to empathize with these people, it's not a situation where they disagree because they understand what Black Lives Matter is supposed to say, but it's really racist and it's really an overreaction and white people get hurt too, and that's why they're against it, right? It's not that. It's not that. Because if it was that, they would simply make those arguments. Instead, these people go to great lengths to criminalize Black Lives Matter, to criminalize black, as I said, Black Lives Matter is to them is any non-coon black person. That's Black Lives Matter to them. Any black person who isn't shuffling, tapping, and saying all lives matter, your Black Lives Matter to them. I don't give a damn whether you're actually a part of their organization or not, or whether you claim to support them or not. To them, your Black Lives Matter. I'm Black Lives Matter. Your Black Lives Matter. Any non-coon is Black Lives Matter. Okay, point blank, period. Don't matter who you are. Okay. Again, and as I wrap up this video, this is the culture of lies. Joey Salads was going out making fake videos, telling the black people that the filming of the video was for another purpose or whatever. And you know, like I said, because he had black people participating in the videos, but he would tell them that it was one thing when it was really another thing. It was really a propaganda piece to prove how savage and vicious black people are in real life, right? Again, family, again, I'm gonna say this one last time. You're dealing with a culture of lies, a culture of lying. This is a culture of white supremacy. This is a culture where they sit here and they fabricate shit They sit up here, they stage stuff. They will go to the lengths of shooting themselves. Some of the links in the description box I'm going to put, these are people who have shot themselves in order to create a false narrative about black people. It's sad and it's sick and it's depressing that you're dealing with somebody who is this psychotic on this planet. But as I said, this is why we must genuinely consider the Yakub theory. We must. Because this is not a natural behavior among humans. This is not. Yet it appears, because we're seeing something that's happening generation after generation after generation. And that's the point I tried to make in my last video. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it. White supremacy is not generational. When you see something that's generational after generational after generational, you have to start wondering if it's genetic. And if it's genetic, then it's natural. This is just the bottom line. If just like black people are born with nappy hair and you see that generation after generation after generation, that's genetic and natural. Well, unfortunately, believe it or not, behaviors can be genetic too. That's why they theorize that alcoholism is genetic. Seriously, you can look this up. It is theorized that alcoholism is genetic. And if this behavior and this culture of lies, this obsession with black people to sit up here and make up stories about black people, if this is genetic, if this behavior is genetic, then we have to wonder if these people are natural people, period. Because you don't, and I'll do a video about this, but there's plenty of other non-black and non-white people who don't like black people, mainly because of white supremacy, and I'll do a video about that. And I have done a video about it in the past, but I deleted it. But even them, you don't see Native Americans, you don't see East Indians, you don't see Asians, and these are Latinos. These are all groups of people who don't like black people either, and who a lot of times don't like black people just as much as any white man. Again, part of that's because of white supremacy, but I'll do a video about that. But still, you don't see Asians going out spray painting Black Lives Matter on the side of their house. You don't see Latinos going out spray painting Black Lives Matter on the side of their house. You only see this with white people. You don't see Latinos shooting themselves and saying it was, like I said, they'll do other things. They'll say nigga, and they'll even kill some black people if they're cops. They'll do a lot of the other white supremacist traditions. But they don't go out of their way to fabricate lies about black people like white people do. They don't go out of their way to fabricate these things. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling and ranting now. So anyway, check the links in the description box. What you're going to see is a collection of stories where white people have vandalized their own property or committed violence against themselves. All in an effort. Several. I'm talking about at least 5 or 6, right? I'm going to put in the description box. Instances over the past couple of years where white people have gone out of their way to fabricate a story about black people doing something that they know that these black people did not do. And yet instill in their mind, you feel like these people are wrong, but you cannot make any reason why they're wrong. So you have to make one up. And because you have to make one up, that tells you that you know that you don't have any logical justification for your white supremacy other than that this person is white, I'm black, that's all that matters. They're a nigger, I'm not. I am right, they are wrong. So let me show you that they're wrong by fabricating something about them because I can't make any kind of logical argument. And this is kind of what I was hinting at in my last video about the mask of white civility. This is why white supremacy has to refine itself, because white people know logically that they cannot justify white supremacy, yet they still have an impulse to practice it. You cannot justify in any way white supremacy. And they know they can't. This is why the alt-right won't call themselves white supremacists. They'll say, I'm not a white supremacist, I'm a race realist. This is why you're so scared of being what you are. That's why the all right who always complains about PC, etc., although they complain about PC, they're trying to be PC by calling themselves alt-right and race realists instead of white supremacists like their forefathers did. Because we got that term white supremacy from white people. I believe in the supremacy of the white race. This was their forefathers called themselves white supremacists, but they're scared to death of that because they know they can't rationalize it. Yet they want to keep doing it, which is why I say that we have to consider if this is a genetic impulse with them. And then if it is, this is why we have to take appropriate actions for separation, because we cannot live together even if they can't do right by us, even if they want to. They can't because of their genetics. They simply cannot. Okay? And the reason why I say we have to let me stop. But I'm saying we have to consider the Yakub story. We do. Because anything else, all these other theories that it was black people who went up into the snow and became white. So why don't we go into the snow now and become white if that's the case? Or why aren't all black people in New York light skinned? You know, why if it's some story where you mutate because the weather is cold, why don't we mutate now? Okay? But anyway, and why don't white people who go into the sun, why don't they mutate into black people? Why don't white people who live in Africa mutate into black people? It doesn't make sense. If other theories just simply don't make sense to me. You know, well, okay, the Neanderthal theory makes a little sense, but even that doesn't necessarily disprove the Yakub theory. Because the Yakub theory talks about that, how they went into the caves and started crawling on all fours. But anyway, this video is getting as long as all my videos, even though I wanted it to be shorter. But anyway, family, you're dealing with a culture of lies. You're dealing with people who have no problem completely making something up to harm you. Because the point is not whether or not you deserve to be harmed. It's just the fact that they want to hurt you. And just to end this, when I say this culture of lies, remember this when we get shot and they start fabricating stuff about we were on drugs, like Terrence Crutcher. They're already claiming that they found PCP in the system. I need to do a video about that, which is a lie, to justify harming us. What the point was that they wanted to harm us from the beginning. They wanted to harm us from the beginning. Okay? Point blank, period. And the lies is part of their culture because they know, hey, I don't really have a reason, but this is something that I really want to do. But in order to feel like a human, even though I may not be, I suspect they're not, but I'm talking from their perspective. In order to feel human, I need to make up this lie to engage in these non-human actions. That's what you're dealing with. That's what you're dealing with. Anyway, fam, like and subscribe. Peace.